Hey everyone, Blade here. So, after last episode, I did some thinking because I read some really amazing comments. One an example from Chris and another from Sydney about just how much the ending meant to them and, all these emotional impact stuff. And then I saw some other comments on the other side of the spectrum where people were saying that it didn't really seem like I was, really getting into the ending, like I was playing it like credits, for example. And I did some thinking, all right? And I was starting to say, well, how do I feel about ending E? Because this is recorded far in the future, like after all the episodes you're going to see from this point on, because I've already done them. So I went back and I thought about it, and I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to be completely honest, okay? I do believe that the ending E did not have as much impact on me as it would everybody else, right? And there are three main reasons why, all right? And again, all this is my opinion. I'm not trying to show this as fact. In fact, I think a majority of this is just a strictly me kind of deal, right? I just want to explain to you guys where I'm coming from. So the first thing is the reason for ending E happening. Remember, the whole reason ending E happens is because the data for 2B, 9S, and A2 was leaking out. And asked, did we want to save them? To be honest, I was kind of like 51% save them, 49% just let things lie. And you might be looking at me like, what, Blade, that's really cruel. That's not like you. Well, hear me out, all right? The first thing is that when it comes to character deaths, once they die, I'm really not that big of a fan of them coming back to life. One of the biggest lessons in life that you have to learn is that once a person dies, they're gone. There is no bringing them back to life. And I always like when stories, and writers, stress upon that and have characters move on, and grow from it. Because I've had to do it myself, as I'm sure many of you all have as well. The thing with 2B, 9S, and A2 is that when 2B had her memory stuck in A2, I still considered 2B to be alive, right? And I was thinking, if A2 can just find a body for 2B, she can save her 2B, and then 2B can reunite herself with 9S. Once A2 and 9S die, then to me, that was saying, okay, all three of them are actually dead. Especially when A2 kind of spoke to 9S about 2B in the past tense, like 2B hated killing you. I felt that she had died then. Not to mention, why would you want to bring them back to, hang on, let me just hear me out on this, all right? A2 made it very clear that she wanted to avenge her fallen comrades, and then, after that, there was nothing left. Like, she had completed her duty. She always asked herself, she had survivor's guilt, like, why was I the one who survived? Anemone had it too. I'm actually surprised Anemone was still kicking and, still wanted to lead the resistance, But that was a heavy burden on her. A2, at the end of Route C, what do you see A2? You see a peaceful smile and she says, I'm coming. A2 seems genuinely at peace. Why would you want to bring A2 back after that just happened to her? For me, that's like, no, A2, that's the end of the line for her. That's her perfect ending. You don't want to bring her back because what does she have to come back to? What does she have to come back to? For A2, it made sense that her story ended there. For 2B, when she died, she finally shredded she didn't have to go deal with killing 9S anymore. She actually saved him and saw that he was okay. For 2B, she also had a smile on her face. And even 9S, after all the hardship that the machines had put him through and mental trauma and thoughts that his life was meaningless, at the end of the day, 9S, and at least in the choice that I chose, he died with a smile as well. So when that happens, I'm like, why do you want to ruin their peaceful deaths? It seems like a selfish wish on your part. They're at peace. Why would you want to bring them back in a state to where they would not be at peace anymore? So for me, it was kind of like, I'm not really feeling this. I mean, yes, I would like them to live more than I want them to die, but I don't really think that it's right for them to come back. So that was the first thing. All right, the reasoning for Route E, I wasn't exactly 100% on board. I was probably 51% on board. The second thing is when it comes to, everybody helping you get through and to saving them. Well, one, since I wasn't really focused on the goal, I was mainly focused on overcoming a challenge. I was. But here's the thing. I think many of people get really emotional when this happens. And, because I saw one comment saying, when I mentioned something about, I feel really silly, it's a lot easier with more people. And somebody was saying, well, that's the whole point. In my playthrough, I didn't really see that. And I was wondering why. I was like, why is everybody else that I read, they feel so emotional about that moment? Even people who are watching my playthrough, But I think the main thing was because I didn't have wireless features on. You'll see, I think, in the next episode, or it may have been in Route D, the Route D episode, I don't remember. You'll see me find have the wireless function still on. I find a body. From that body, you can get new chips. They can help you out through battles. And it turns out they're more concentrated where, you most often die a lot. So it's literally there, like the people of the past are helping you get through tough times, because the more of them there, the more help you have. I never saw any of that. So that's actually, you might be asking, well, Blake, if you had turned the Wi-Fi on, here's the thing. My Wi-Fi signal where I live is terrible, all right? Sometimes even when I'm talking on Discord, I'll just disconnect for a moment of time. People think I'm gone. I'm not. It's just that my Wi-Fi disconnected. So for me, I was like, I don't think the Wi-Fi is going to be very reliable. Don't want to mess up the recording. So that was just not a realistic option to me. But even when I knew that that was an option, because you'll see in the next episode or the previous episode, I go, that seems like it makes the game too easy, because through the whole game, I was basically by myself. I didn't rely on help from any other people from the outside. I was just, it was just me alone. And when it comes to ending E, I was good enough, I thought, at hacking that I thought I would eventually beat it. Would I? I mean, it's a very difficult level, maybe like after a lot of time and practice. But as it stood, when I asked for help, I wasn't really at a point of hopelessness. I'm actually a very optimistic person, if you guys couldn't tell. And it takes a lot for me to get to a point of hopelessness. So what actually happened is that I felt I was on a time crunch. I was like, well, I'm trying to hurry up and finish the game before I uploaded the first episode. As many of you didn't seem to pick up throughout the playthrough, I'd already finished the game by the time I uploaded the first episode. But I wanted to do that because I didn't want any spoilers. So I was on a time clock. That's the reason I decided to ask for help. I was like, all right, well, I don't want to spend forever on this. And then I got the true meaning. I was like, oh, okay. But then there was also the other factor of I didn't lose anybody when I went through that hacking. If you get hit, you lose somebody's data apparently forever. And with me also not having the Wi-Fi feature active, I never thought that they would actually be real people. If I had seen that for the first time, I probably would have thought it was the computer automated stuff, like basic accounts. Not that it was actual people out there that was cheering me on, because I hadn't seen that feature through the entire game. So yes, that's something specific to me again, but I'm just explaining to you why that didn't have as much impact to me as well. And it was explained to me later on by the Twit gamer, that they were actual real people. Then I felt something, but when I was recording it, not so much. I was just thinking, oh, cool, I get some help. Because like a similar thing actually happened in Undertale, now that I think about it. When you fight the flowery boss, the characters in the game surround you and help you get through that boss. It's the same, literally the same exact thing. Only, it's real people. But I didn't know because, Undertale, they weren't real people. You know what I mean? And the last thing is the fact that Route E itself. Maybe this has been hyped because I had heard people saying Route E is so amazing and things like that. I thought Route E and Route D would be much longer than they actually were. I had so many questions, like way more than I could even count. And Some of you might be going, well, that's the whole point. Like, if you had deleted your save file, like we told you. So with deleting the save file, see, here's the thing, and this might be a little harsh, but just hear me out, all right? That's all I ask you. It didn't seem that big of a deal to me, and here's why. It's not because I recorded it. When I was young, I had played nothing but Sonic games. You know, I platinumed nearly all of them, including Sonic 06. If any of you have even heard the, horrors of Sonic 06, you know how big of an accomplishment that was. I platinumed that game. And then one day, unfortunately, a thief decided to come in my home and steal all my consoles, including my save data. I still had my games, and I eventually got a new Xbox 360, but I had to replay the games from jump. And it's not just one, it was all my games. That was my childhood, and somebody just took it away. I cried harder than, it was almost like I had lost a loved one, as weird as it might be to say. But from that experience, I learned to grow from it and not let it get to me as much, because I couldn't keep living, if I was always upset that I had lost my data. And I went back and I played through the games. With NieR, NieR, I will be completely honest, it did not mean to me as much to me as some of those games did, as for many reasons, But so for when it comes to me deleting my save data, yes, I'd feel bad, but I've already experienced a way worse, tragedy. I've been, in a sense, used to it. So I was ready to, give up my save data. The only reason I didn't is because I wanted to showcase the rest of the game for you all. And again, I was on a time crunch, so I didn't really have much of a choice there. So, with all that said, and finally, I imagine some of you are saying, there's still the thing of deleting your save data. Well, playthrough spoilers, so skip this part if you don't want to hear it. I do. After I've done much more than, the regular game, because I knew there were going to be many people who wanted to see me do certain stuff, then I delete my save file, which to me was a much harder, I did way more, and then I was losing it. And there were still things that I missed out on, so. Anyways, I just wanted to make this video to get it off, just to explain to you, because I really don't talk about ending E, because it bothered me, and I knew it meant a lot to a lot of people. And I didn't really want to kind of rain on anybody's parade, but honestly, when I look at it, there are reasons specific to me. Me personally, I never really like it when a character is revived, in a sense. Two, I don't really like it when, and I felt that, 2B, 9S, and A2, they had deaths that, you shouldn't bring them back from. Like, they were good. Two, I never experienced the whole, work together to, you can't carry the weight of your world by yourself. Because to me, A2 and 9S, they fought Route C majority of the time by themselves. A2 took down the network by herself with the help of the pod, of course. But, I really don't, they're one unit. You know what I mean? To me, A2 and 9S did. They succeeded. I thought the whole point of ending E was to persevere, through difficult odds, and eventually you would get through it. That's what I thought ending E was all about, but no. It was on something that I hadn't really seen much of in the game, especially when the entirety of Yorha died, And it's like they don't have a choice but to do it. At least, that's what I've been seeing. And then lastly, I thought ending E would be a lot bigger and answer a lot more questions than it did, but that didn't happen. So that is why I'm pretty sure the ending did not mean as much to me as it may have to a majority of other people. So, if you have any comments, they like to say, as always, please post them down in the comments below. I understand if some of you are mad, but, it's how I feel. I can't really help that. So, post your thoughts down in the comments below, and I will see you all next time.